Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Philadelphia Phillies. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Toyota. The Toyota Camry, Highlander, and RAV4 have something for everybody. Toyota, let's go places. By Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. By Citi, preferred card of the New York Mets. And by Nissan. Now's the best time to save big at Nissan's Take Home a Titan Truck month event. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets play the middle game of their series against the Phillies. The Phillies are in a rollicking race for the National League East, 2.5 games now behind the Atlanta Braves, but they've imported a lot of players late in July and August, and there are lineup decisions daily for Gabe Kapler, their manager. Tonight, he has traded defense for offense.
Well, the Philadelphia organization has been made it public that the defense is secondary. There's not a whole lot of speed at the top of that lineup, too, Gary. All the speed's at the bottom. They've got all their big boppers. This has been a team that has struggled to score runs. This is their 117th different lineup of the season. So Gabe Kapler is looking for offense on this ball club and then sacrificing defense. You'll see later in the game when we do the defense that they're a little troubled in this category tonight.
Well, certainly so. Carlos Santana especially playing third base for only the second time since 2014. Meanwhile, the Mets will roll out Noah Syndergaard tonight, coming off the first complete game performance of his career.
Well, it was really fun to watch him pitch in San Francisco and go the complete game. And Gary and I noticed, as in the past, in the 7th and 8th and 9th inning, he found his rhythm and really had it all together. He struggled with his command, pretty not the walks-wise, but he's just been a little bit off. But he found it those last 3 innings, 11 strikeouts. We'll see if he can do it again tonight.
And for the Phillies, Zach Eflin, who had a good first half but has really been struggling lately.
Well, the first half he was 7-2 with an ERA below 3, and in the second half his ERA has skyrocketed into the 5s. So he's been struggling for this ball club. He's looking for some run support tonight from his ball club.
Every win a must-win for the Phillies. Mets try and get even in the series tonight under gloomy skies. It's the Mets and Phillies at Citi Field. All the action on SNY. Bullpen jackpot sweepstakes from the New York Lottery. Go to sny.tv/New York Lottery to enter. By your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers, Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. And by Altice One, enjoy the ultimate viewing experience with Altice One, only from Optimum. Celebrate Jacob deGrom's performance this season with a special 4 for $48 ticket offer in select seating locations for all remaining Mets home games. Tickets are subject to availability. For tickets, visit Mets.com/deGrom. SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Look how slowly that dirt moves. That is really super slow-mo. From Washington Square Park to the Hamptons, it's time for Mets baseball. First pitch is coming up. Time to meet the Mets. Oh, I like this. This is new. Never done this before.
Sweet.
It's outstanding. Good job by the scoreboard folks to put that together.
And the music you hear in the background is Thor's theme song, I gather.
Very ominous.
Yes, it's almost
very apocalyptic.
It's almost like I'm thinking of Damien somewhere in The Omen. But anyways, there's Toyota numbers for Noah right there, and coming off a terrific start over the Giants.
I don't know about the God of Thunder, but he is pitching in the rain tonight.
Yes, and also the Lexus Mets defense, they got to play in the rain tonight also. Rosario.
Yes, but they're not the gods of thunder.
Gary, you're breaking my concentration here. Rosario at shortstop. He's back in the lineup after 2 days off, and that he will not have an off day the rest of the way. And Dominic Smith, his 7th start in left field. I'm just glad he's in the lineup. We talked about defense in the open. Well, Mets are sacrificing a little defense too. Dominic is really a very accomplished first baseman.
Yeah, they're really sacrificing defense for experimentation. as opposed to the Phillies, who are sacrificing defense for offense. The Mets are trying to get a handle on whether Jay Bruce can play at first base. Let me ask you, since your name was mentioned publicly as someone who might be a mentor for Jay Bruce at first base, is that in the offing as far as you know, or is that still to be arranged?
The phone is right in front of me, and it hasn't rung yet, but I'm sure it will. We got a long homestand. And as my producer said, you know, Gary, my phone is always on. It's never off.
I'm well aware of that. We often hear it during the game.
Not lately.
You are a very popular dude.
Oh.
Carlos Santana set to lead off. Santana hit a 2-run homer last night against Steven Matz. And Syndergaard's first pitch of the night is a fastball outside for ball 1, and we're underway.
This is the 8th time this season that Santana has led off.
He's one of the hotter hitters in the Phillies lineup. They've been struggling for runs. They managed 4 runs on 7 hits last night. Santana and Rhys Hoskins with home runs to put the Phillies over the top in their 4-3 win last night. Santana currently riding a 9-game hitting streak. In his home run batting right-handed last night, he's got 8 from the right side, 14 from the left side. And it's pounded foul, 1-2.
Santana leading off, you would wonder, 22 home runs on the year. He's driven in 81 runs, but he's got 94 walks. Okay, but he's a bit of a, he's a slowpoke on the bases.
Well, the other thing is, when you face a guy like Syndergaard, you cannot be counting on drawing a lot of walks. That's grounded right back to Noah. And for the 124th time in 125 innings this year, he does not walk the leadoff hitter. And I think that's an important thing. When you put together a lineup, you have to be cognizant of who you're facing, and Noah simply does not walk people.
And Noah's Achilles heel is the stolen base. Now, the Phillies aren't a team that rely on the stolen base. They're ranked 13th in the National League in stolen bases, but you would think you would want to put your speed up front to put the pressure on Noah with the stolen base.
Is Justin Bour hitting second in the order, speaking of lack of speed, and it's taken outside ball 1. And your point is well taken. Their best base stealer by far is Cesar Hernandez, who for most of the year has been their leadoff hitter. And you would think with Syndergaard on the mound, maybe you'd rather put him up at the top rather than leaving Santana there. And changeup in for a strike to Bour, and it's 1-1. Bour has not played a whole lot since coming over from the Marlins. He's had just 24 at-bats since he was traded 4 weeks ago. Only his 5th start for the Phillies, playing first base, and Santana moving to third tonight. And he fouls one into the ground on the slider, and it's 1-2.
And he's a big kind of lumbering guy, and I like him. I think he's a big power bat. He walks a lot, but he's just not getting any playing time here. He's only driven in 2 runs for the Phillies and scored 3 and 1 home run.
Wilson Ramos waiting on deck. 1-2 from Syndergaard, and he gets him with a changeup. Syndergaard strikes out Bour for his first strikeout of the night. 2 out.
Well, let's see if Syndergaard can build off that last start, that 2-hit, 1-run, 11 strikeout complete game against the Giants. Just so good to see a complete game. It's just so rare.
He had a great changeup working in that game in San Francisco last Sunday, and he got the first strikeout with the changeup tonight. Here's Ramos hitting third in the order for the Phillies for the first time. And he fouls one off the home plate umpire Mark Carlson and back. 0-1.
Ramos is the best hitter in this lineup, and traditionally in this game of baseball, your third hitter is always your best hitter.
This is a retooled Phillies team. You've got Bour and Ramos and Cabrera all in the lineup tonight, all acquired trading deadline and beyond. And Syndergaard pops the outside corner with a fastball, and it's 0-2. There are the standings in the NL East. The Braves lost in Arizona last night, beaten 5-3 by Patrick Corbin, and with the Phillies win, that moved the Phillies within 2.5 games of the top.
It's a 2-horse race right now. Washington just is stuck in neutral, if not reverse.
0-2 off the corner, and 99, 1-2 to Ramos. The Nats got rained out with the Cubs last night. That was a fiasco. They waited an hour and a half, started the game, played an inning, waited 3 more hours, and then called it. Doubleheader today, and that was delayed 2 hours before they finally started. Nats are up 8-0 after 6. 1-2 coming, and that's just off the corner with a slider. 2-2.
Atlanta is out west, and they're looking for help tonight. They got beat last night. They really had a chance with this Philly team struggling to really put the pedal to the metal, and they haven't.
2-2 off the corner. 3-2. Well, neither team has played very well over the last month. It's allowed the Nats to at least stay in the periphery of the race, 8 games out, even though they've, as you say, been stuck in neutral. But you got 2 teams that may be ahead of their time, Atlanta and Philadelphia, stumbling a bit down the stretch. 3-2. And that's outside, ball 4. So Syndergaard, after getting ahead on Ramos, loses him to a walk. Syndergaard has walked only 27 batters in 122 innings this year, less than 2 per 9 innings. And that'll get Rhys Hoskins to the plate with a man on. Hoskins delivered the go-ahead blow for the Phillies last night, a home run in the 8th inning against Tyler Bachelor. 28 home runs, 85 runs batted in for Hoskins, top 10 in the league in both. Hoskins had been in a 2-for-30 slump before his home run last night, which might have been why he flipped the bat the way he did. And he flies this one out to right center, playable for Nimmo or Conforto, and it's Nimmo to step in front and make the catch to retire the side. Who rested most of the game last night in there tonight. Dominic Smith gets a start in left. Tomas Nido, who caught Syndergaard's complete game last Sunday in San Francisco, gets the start behind the plate tonight.
And there's the Land Rover numbers for Zach Eflin. A terrific start at 7-2, but it's kind of turned around for him a bit. He's been struggling of late.
Rosario takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. Ahmed Rosario coming off a tremendous road trip. He had .432 over the course of the 9-game trip. Foul tips the fastball, and it's 1-1. Mets are facing Eflin for the 3rd time this year. He's been shaky in each of his first 2 starts against the Mets, a no decision and then a 9-6 win in which he gave up 4 runs. Bigger problem for Eflin lately has been the fact that he's been giving up runs early in games. In fact, he's been scored upon in the first inning in each of his last 4 starts. 24-year-old out of Orlando. And he gets the slider in for a strike, 2-2. Jeff McNeil on deck, then Michael Conforto in the opening inning. Mets were held to 3 runs and 3 hits last night. It was Aaron Nola and company. It was the 13th time this year the Mets have been held to 3 hits or fewer. That's the most games with 3 hits or fewer for the Mets since 1965. 65. 3-2 to Rosario. And it's the 10th time they've been held to 3 hits or fewer at home this year, which ties the most ever. 1963 at the Polo Grounds.
The Mets have struggled at home.
3-2 coming. And he struck him out with a fastball. Rosario down on strikes, and Eflin starts his night with a K.
Put a little extra on that fastball. He's had a lot of plate. Rosario very wide with his feet. Hardly any stride.
So 1 out and nobody on. That Jeff McNeil. McNeil had an RBI double in the game last night. He's now reached base in each of his last 20 starts. And he takes a fastball for a strike from Eflin.
Eflin, a little bit of 3/4. He's got to keep the ball down. Has a good changeup. He's been throwing it more lately.
And there it is. Gets the foul tip, and it's 0-2.
McNeil has been doing everything that a number 2 hitter should do. A good situational hitter. Got a hit and run double the other night. Has a good eye at the plate. Shows good patience. Doesn't look at all edgy. And this is his first year in the big leagues. You know, a little over 100 at bats. Seems very comfortable.
.382 on base percentage starting the night. And a half swing, and he foul tipped at strike 3. So Eflin gets 2 strikeouts on foul tips to start the night.
And I heard a foul tip. You see the rain. Wanted to check swing. He did not swing.
Nope. The ball hit the bat.
There's the motion. All little dart throwers. You know, hardly a lot of the pitchers today. Very compact motions home. I guess they don't want any chance of.
Michael Conforto rolls one out into the shift. Hernandez takes care of that. And Eflin's got a 1-2-3 first inning with a couple of strikeouts. No score after 1. Second inning with no score as Drupal Cabrera leads off against Noah Syndergaard. Cabrera drove in a run, 1 for 4 last night, playing his 37th game with the Phillies. First pitch curveball hit well to center field, but Nimmo has room and goes back to get it through the raindrops for the first out. Manage your dream team in franchise mode, plus get weekly stats, roster updates, and more. RBI Baseball 18 is available now. Learn more at RBIGame.com. Rated E for everyone. Sounds very inclusive. And you see the rain not falling very heavily.
It's just spitting.
Probably will continue to spit throughout the evening. Everybody got their winter hats tonight to provide a little protection. It's cool-ish for the second week in September. Here's Nick Williams, who's celebrating his 25th birthday today, and he takes a strike. So Syndergaard starting each of the first 2 hitters in this inning off with a curveball.
Well, you remember, Gary went through a spell where he got jumped in that first inning on his fastball, and I think he's learned his lesson that even though he can bring it right there at 98, he's got to come out of the chute and mix it up.
Let me ask you a question from a hitter's perspective. If a pitcher flips a first pitch curveball at you and then comes back with a fastball, does it make the fastball seem harder?
No. Well, only thing it does, if they're going to, a first pitch, if he's going to throw a get me over a right-hander to me, a left-hand hitter, or get me over curve, and it's on the outside corner, strike 3, good fastball in. That's not a pitch I want to hit. It's not a pitch I want to hit. And excuse my grape Tootsie Pop here, but no, I got the chocolate.
Part of your charm.
I'm not going to swing at that little get me over on the outside corner. If he gets it over the middle and in, okay, I can jump on it. But you can, like Ronnie says, you can just kind of flip it up there on the outside corner. It's not a good pitch for a guy to hit.
But the speed difference doesn't make a difference.
The Phillies have faced Syndergaard enough. They know how hard he throws. Cesar Hernandez has faced him enough. He knows what he's in for tonight. He's in for a hard day at the office.
Hernandez really struggling, 0 for 3 last night, down to 251 for the year. His on-base percentage is still fairly good, 359, but just by contrast, last year he had 294 for the full season. This year, 251. And that's one of the reasons he got dropped out of the leadoff spot recently. He's been a mainstay in that leadoff spot for the last 4 years for the Phillies. 0-2 from Syndergaard, and he goes away with the changeup, and it's 1-2.
Well, one thing about Noah has been a big plus for him, and that's why he's been successful. And folks, he's 10-3 on the year. That's quite a sparkling record. Is that he doesn't walk people.
Doesn't walk people and doesn't give up home runs. Only 6 home runs allowed in his first 20 starts, and he's currently on a streak of 45 straight innings without allowing a home run.
It's very remarkable, actually.
Especially in today's game with the prevalence of home runs.
If he's a sinker ball pitcher, okay, but not a guy that throws the gas.
1-2, and the curveball just missed. 2-2 to Hernandez. Odubel Herrera would be next. Third time for Noah facing the Phillies this year, and he hasn't fared particularly well the first 2 times. A no decision and a loss. Gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3 last time in Philly. That's lined toward the middle, and Rosario can't reach it. It's a base hit for Hernandez. The first hit for either side. A 2-out single.
There goes the no-no.
Sorry, Keith.
Maybe it's only one a lifetime, Gare, as far as the orange and blue are concerned.
One more than the Padres have. Here's Odubel Herrera. Came off the bench last night, went 1 for 2. Odd to see Herrera hitting 8th in the order, but he's lost a lot of playing time lately. His second half has been a difficult one.
Well, he's just a lot of movement. You can see, folks, he's one of the characters of the game. This guy, you don't know what's going on out there between the ears. And you know, he's wide open stance. He's got a lot of movement, big leg kick. And if you watch him, he floats forward. He's got no balance. And that's why I think he's been struggling.
But he looks the same when he's going well.
I mean, it's just like that. It's just like that's not a good swing. So he's obviously having a hard time, a hard second half, and you can see why. But he is a guy that's going to swing, and he's dangerous.
Hernandez, who can steal a base, is on first with 2 out. 17 steals this year, but he's been a little banged up lately. He's running this time. Pitch out. Nito's throw. And Hernandez gets in there safely. So the Mets pitching out on 0-2, guessing right, and Hernandez steals the base anyways, 18th.
Well, you can pretty much bet on it that they're going to steal. The guys that can run are going to try to steal off Noah. And that was a perfect throw. It would not have gotten Hernandez. That was a stolen pillow.
Well, the last time the Mets faced the Phillies, even guys who never run were running against Noah. That's 28 now against Syndergaard this year in 31 tries. 1-2 to Herrera with a runner in scoring position, and he breaks his bat and pulls it foul.
Well, here's a pitch earlier. Now, he got his weight forward. Look at his front foot, and now he's got to come back. It's almost like he's winding up to throw a pitch. And it's just a lot of movement, no hip rotation there.
But again, even when he's successful, he's got all that movement.
He's
right?
one of those hitters that you would not, if you were at a clinic, you would not show his swing. I mean, I've seen it.
That's going to intentionally walk him now, which is a little odd to do with a 1-2 count, don't you think? And Syndergaard on the mound. I don't think I've seen that in a long, long time. An intentional walk after a 1-2 count.
Interesting.
So Eflin, who's got a home run this year, 4 hits in all, will bat with 2 out and 2 on. What made it interesting is that they threw a pitch after the stolen base that Herrera fouled off, and with time to think about it after he broke his bat, that's when the decision was made to walk him. I mean, you're talking about a guy who was 1 for 17 against Syndergaard in his career. And the curveball in for a strike to Eflin, and it's 0-2. And of course you say, well, there's nothing to lose, right? You got the pitcher coming up, automatic out. Even if he is, that means you got the leadoff hitter leading off the next inning rather than the pitcher.
And we had that discussion with Ronnie, and I was in full agreement. I always wanted the pitcher leading off, and so did Ron. I think it's pretty apparent why.
Eflin strikes out. Syndergaard gets through this inning with his 3rd strikeout. No score as we go to the bottom of the 2nd. Tomorrow is Jake Day. Sunshine Superman will take the mound in the final game of this series against Vince Velasquez, your City Probables, as he tries to increase his case for a Cy Young Award. Last night, Aaron Nola faced the Mets, gave up 3 runs in 7 innings, got a win. His ERA went up. DeGrom's ERA never seems to go up. Jay Bruce leads off in the bottom of the second. Jay was 1 for 4, hit a home run last night. Has looked much better since coming back from the DL. A dozen games now. He's hit 3 home runs. And he drives this one into right field, and Williams will have to play it on a hop. A leadoff hit for Bruce. The Mets' first hit of the night.
And your Jeep Philly defense, we talked about Carlos Santana at third base. It's only his second start at third base, and it's been a long time since he's been there. 2014 was the last time he played there with the Indians. And there's your outfield. Odubel Herrera back in the center field.
Here's Todd Frazier. Todd took an 0 for 4 last night. 0 for his last 10. With Bruce at first and nobody out. 3 infielders on the left side against Frazier. And he thinks about a bunt. And the pitch was called a strike, and Todd is in a bit of disbelief. Did they say that he offered at it, or did Mark Carlson say that was over the plate?
I said it was a strike. And Todd likes to, he's a little bit of a moaner and groaner at the umpires.
Well, maybe
20.
Maybe it's a little rubber ball retribution.
Those two.
Slider taken down, a ball and a strike. Zach Eflin gave up 4 runs in 5 innings in his last start against the Cubs. That was a full week ago. They moved Aaron Nola ahead of Eflin in the rotation, so Eflin got pushed back. So he's working on a full week's rest. They did that so Nola would face the Braves twice in their upcoming series. And Frazier gets drilled, and the Mets have 2 men on. So just a little glance out at Eflin as he takes his base. Only the 3rd batter Eflin's hit all year.
That fastball got away from him, ran in, got him on the hip.
Last night, Kevin Plawecki got drilled on the wrist forearm area. He wasn't going to start tonight anyway, but the Mets have called up a reinforcement. They have Jose Lobaton back, and to put him on the 40-man roster. So the Mets now have 4 catchers on the active roster: Mesoraco, Plawecki, who are banged up, and then Nito and Lobaton. Here's Brandon Nimmo with 2 on and nobody out. Corners are in as though they're expecting a bunt from Nimmo. That's not going to happen. And that's really weird. Bohr is playing way in on the grass.
We've seen this before. I forget the team, but they played the first baseman in. Nimmo is not going to bunt. Now, I can see with the third baseman playing at the cut of the grass, but not the first baseman. Number one, you got a right-hand pitcher. He follows through to the right, the first base side of the rubber. I'm not going to come in there and give Nimmo that big hole right there.
Well, especially a guy who's got as limited range as Bohr does. Now you've cut down on that range even more by playing him that far in. Now he's moving back a step.
You look at this entire infield. You've got Santana at third, Cabrera at short, who never played short for the Mets this year. He's his 21st start at short.
And also, if you scout the Mets, Mickey Callaway never bunts with a position player early in a game. That hasn't happened all year. 1-1 to Brandon, and he takes it off the plate. 2-1. Nimmo was 0 for 3 last night, but in 9 games since coming off the disabled list, Brandon's hitting .333. Dominic Smith on deck. That's trying to pounce early against Eflin after a Bruce single and Frazier getting hit by a pitch.
Trying to play the role of the spoiler here, the Mets.
And the fastball in tight, and now Eflin behind him 3-1.
Well, now Bohr is moving back 3-1. I think so. Is that just for self-defense?
I just don't understand the entire concept of playing him in like that. Big hole on the left side for Nimmo, with Cabrera playing right behind the bag at second. And Brandon takes a rip at the fastball, 3-2.
Brandon always looks at his front foot when he swings and misses. Watch him on the follow through. And he always goes down and he will check his front foot. And that must have been something that he was taught. That is a point of interest for, not interest of him, but it's a checkpoint for him.
3-2, nobody out. Runners hold, and Nimmo takes the slider for ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Interesting pitch selection there from Eflin, going with the breaking ball on 3-2 against a guy with a great eye at the plate. And now the Mets have the bases loaded and nobody out.
That's no surprise to me, Gare, and we've mentioned it all year long that the league has become a breaking ball league, and basically predominantly behind the count, 2-0, 3-1. It's secondary pitches.
But does it make a difference when you've got a hitter at the plate who's not likely to chase out of the strike zone, who is so adept at judging strikes from balls? Here's Dominic Smith with the bases loaded, nobody out. And Dom goes after a first pitch changeup, 0-1.
Bases loaded, nobody out, and Bohr's playing in again against a left-hand hitter. Gary,
it makes a little more sense with the full shift on because the second baseman's so close to him, right?
You got a guy that doesn't run well. You can play back, turn 2, a 3-6-3.
Checked swing, and he went around on the high fastball, and Eflin's ahead of the count, 0-2.
So you got if you look at the defense, and this is he went around. Is that if Bohr's playing back, he's giving that right field line. You can cover. Obviously, if he plays back, he covers more ground. And you just concede a run this early.
Smith homered last night, and he takes one in the dirt, 1-2. That home run tied the game against Nola in the 7th before Hoskins, but the Phillies back in front to stay. Tomas Nido batting 8th in the order, waiting on deck. Eflin a big mess in the second inning. Bruce at third, Frazier at second, Nimmo at first with nobody out. And Smith tries to lay off, but he went around, strike 3. A slider at his feet, and he's a strikeout victim. That's the first out. Third strikeout for Eflin.
Well, usually you see an umpire ask for help, and that's close. And normally the umpires ask for help, and I've been up here always saying, hey, make your own call. But I thought that one you could have asked for help.
So now 1 out. You got the 8 and 9 hitters coming up. Nido just 10 for 57 in the big leagues this year.
And Bohr playing in again.
And he hits one hard over the bag. That's a fair ball going down the line. Bruce is in. Frazier right behind him. Nimmo's being waved home. Hoskins gets the ball in, but too late. It's a 3-run double for Tomas Nido. And the Mets go in front 3-0.
Leads him off with a slider, hangs it inside. And Nido all over it. That's nice to see. Tomas
started the night with only 2 extra base hits and 4 RBIs for the season in 57 big league at bats.
When the back runner is Nimmo, you know he's going to be given the green light.
Now Syndergaard at the plate with 3 runs already home. And he takes the fastball at the knees for a strike. Noah's got 5 hits, 3 RBIs this year. So Eflin got the first out by striking out Smith, but couldn't get through the 8-hitter as Nido drives in 3.
Well, you can see the breaking ball supposed to be outside. Where is it, folks? Inner half, right there to rip. And those are the ones you don't want to miss.
The Mets are very high on Nido as a defensive-minded catcher. If he hits at all, there's Syndergaard flying one down the right side. That'll go foul. 1-2. If he hits at all, he's got a real chance. And, you know, the returns from the minor league are puzzling because he was a Florida State League batting champ. He had some good numbers in Double-A this year. But most of the folks who have watched him along the way have felt as though he's much more of a defensive catcher than he is an offensive threat. Were you looking at my...
Oh, it's yours.
Yeah. Syndergaard strikes out for the second out. So every couple of times a year this happens. Keith and I both use the same pens, and we're very fastidious about using them down to the last ounce of ink. And my red pen just ran out.
Gary takes pride in it.
I mean, you see, there's no ink left in the barrel.
That's compared to mine.
So I got the new one out. So you've got months worth of ink left in there. So another one bites the dust. It just shows you that the season goes on a long time. Rosario flies one out to left center, and Herrera comes over to get it. That retires the side, but the Mets put up a 3-spot. Tomas Nido with a bases clearing double, and it's 3-0 New York. Since 1962, here are the Phillies' all-time leaders against the Mets. And, you know, the only reason Mike Schmidt has that home run record against the Mets is because Pat Burrell didn't play long enough.
That's true.
Because Burrell was just a killer.
And he went to the Giants, where Schmidt obviously played his entire career in a Philadelphia uniform. Probably the greatest third baseman of all time.
Carlton may have had 20 wins against the Mets, but in '69, when he set the strikeout record with 19, the Mets beat him that night. So there. That was when he was still with the Cardinals.
I would like to know what Carlton's win-loss record is against his former teammates, the Cardinals.
Carlos Santana dunks one into right field for a base hit. So Santana, leading off the third, has the Phillies' second hit against Syndergaard, that time attacking a first pitch.
He likes the ball down, big power swing.
So now Justin Bour hitting second in the order, struck out his first time up. One of 3 strikeouts for Syndergaard first time through the batting order. How about the Philly batting average leaders against the Mets, you ask? Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez, folks, was a left-hand hitter back in the 60s and was very, very good player.
Now, I think of Tony Gonzalez when he played for the Braves, because he was on that Braves team, wasn't he, that the Mets beat in the League Championship Series. There's a double play ball to Rosario. McNeil with the turn. Double play, 2 men down. 6-4-3 double play, 2 out and nobody on.
Tony Gonzalez was part of that '64 Philly team that collapsed under Gene Mock to the Cardinals. That was the famous collapse. Jim Bunning on that team, Chris Short. Richie Allen was a rookie that year, if I remember correctly.
So I went and looked up Tony Gonzalez in that '69 League Championship Series. He hit .357 against the Mets.
He was a very good player.
I mean, you're talking about a lineup that had Rico Carty and Henry Aaron and Orlando Cepeda. I mean, that was an incredibly powerhouse Atlanta team. And, you know, the Mets had such vaunted pitching, and the Braves cuffed them around. But the Mets still swept the series. I think they won 9-5 and, you know, high-scoring games, 11-6. That's grounded over the bag. A fair ball for Ramos going down the line. That'll go all the way to the corner. And the Buffalo will stampede into second with a 2-out double.
He's a hitter.
He is not running well at all, Keith.
No.
He's had that hamstring injury that he had when he came over from Tampa Bay, and he can barely move.
Was Ralph Garr on that '69 team?
No, I don't think he came
later.
up till later, 70, 71. So 3 hits now against Syndergaard. Here's Rhys Hoskins, who flied out to center his first time up. So Syndergaard's already given him more hits in this game than he did in 9 innings against the Giants his last time out. Here's how rare performances like Syndergaard's last Sunday are for the Mets. Over the last 25 years, it was only the 6th time that a Met pitcher had thrown a complete game with no more than 2 hits and at least 11 strikeouts. R.A. Dickey did it twice. Pedro Martinez, Tom Glavine, Chris Capuano, and then Syndergaard last Sunday. Only time since 1993. Nito goes down to block that curveball, and it's 1-1.
Nice footwork and glove work there on that block.
Here's the final line for Noah from that 9-inning performance against the Giants last Sunday.
That 11 strikeouts tied a season high, I believe.
One and one to Hoskins, and that fastball just missed. 2-1.
So the borderline low strike is not going the pitcher's way.
It was interesting because one of the reasons that Nicky Callaway loved the way Nito caught Syndergaard the last time he pitched was because Nito was able to frame that low strike for Noah, but not necessarily getting that call so far. And that one's out of the strike zone, 3-1. So Ralph Garr debuted in '68, played 22 games in '69, but did not appear in the League Championship Series. The first ever National League Championship Series, I might add.
That's right. It was the first time the 2 divisions. You're correct.
3-1 to a dangerous hitter, and Hoskins takes ball 4. So Noah's already given up his 3rd walk of the game, 1 intentional. And now with 2 on, as Dribble Cabrera will come up, and Nito's going to go out for a conversation with Syndergaard. Well, tomorrow is McDonald's Family Sunday. The Mets take on the Phillies at 1:10 p.m. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a Mets Chip Bowl, courtesy of Hanes Celestial. Plus, all kids 12 and under can run the bases after the game in the Mr. Met Dash, courtesy of Northwell Health. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Do we have a Chip Bowl? Oh, we do. Thank you. You got tonight's promotion on your head and tomorrow's promotion in your hand. You are all over it.
And it's the perfect size. It's multi-purpose. You can use this for your dog.
If your dog eats chips.
For oatmeal and cereal, dry cereal. It's perfect size.
Cabrera takes the first pitch down for ball 1. Oh, boy, the folks in marketing are just going to be thrilled with that.
Oh. Well, more than one way to use it. That should increase sales.
I think that's perfectly logical on your part. Your chip and dog bowl. 1-0 to Cabrera. And Noah misses with that off-speed pitch, and it's 2-0. So all of a sudden, things get a little dicey for Syndergaard here in this third inning against a team that likes to hit home runs. And you got Cabrera at the plate, who's hit 23 of them this year. 18 as a Met, 5 as a Philly. He's the tying run at the plate in a 3-0 game.
Keep the ball away from Cabrera left when he's batting left-handed. This year, he got off to the home run start, and he was looking at that ball middle in. Just keep it away from him. Let him try to pull it out of the ballpark on that ball in the outside corner.
Threw that fastball right by him, 2-1.
Well, they wanted to come in. You see it moved out over the plate, but it tied him up. His right elbow came in, broke his swing down, overpowered him.
And now 3-1. Syndergaard, who has not walked more than 4 batters in a game this year, has already walked 3 in this game. And now behind Cabrera, 3-1. Nick Williams would be next.
He's kind of struggled this inning a little bit.
He's already given up a single, a double, and a walk. The double play has short-circuited the Phillies so far, but Syndergaard with some traffic to work around here. And Cabrera takes ball 4, and now the bases are loaded. So Syndergaard has matched his season high with 4 walks. Dave Allen's going to pay a visit to the mound, as Syndergaard has walked back-to-back hitters to load up the bases.
Very out of character.
Well, we were just raving at the start of the game about how Syndergaard never walks anybody, and that this Philly lineup is not necessarily well suited for him, but it's the Phillies and their patience that have won out so far. And now they've got an opportunity to get right back in this game after the Mets took a 3-0 lead.
The Phillies came into this series 5th in walks, but also 2nd in strikeouts. It's kind of a paradox there. You wouldn't think either the two would be in the same formula.
Well, if you take a lot of pitches and work deep counts, you're going to strike out as well as walk. So now Nick Williams will try and make something of this. Ramos at third, Hoskins at second, Cabrera at first with 2 out. Williams struck out looking his first time up. Gabe Kapler tried to put together an offensive lineup tonight, and now his offense trying to break through against Syndergaard. And Williams' first pitch curveball flies one out to right, and Conforto comes over to get it, and that retires the side. So Syndergaard finds his way through trouble in an inning that featured 2 hits and 2 walks. Still 3-0. Through the early portion of his career, McNeil has shown a great propensity for putting the bat on the ball and making good things happen no matter where the ball's pitched.
A little bit of Ichiro in his swing. He makes contact. A little bit of Richie Hebner. He's a good hit and run guy. He can slap the ball, Gary, and he can drive it.
They say the key to hitting is to swing at strikes and take balls. McNeil proving maybe that's not quite the case. Let's go to the M&M's Sweet Seats, and to Steve Gelb's report tonight is brought to you by M&M's. Steve?
And guys, something else he does is swing at the first pitch often. He swings at the first pitch almost 50% of his at-bats, and just to put that in perspective, league average is less than 30%, so that's just how unique of a hitter Jeff McNeil is. And it's a small sample size, but when he does put bat on ball first pitch, he is absolutely stellar, batting almost 500, over 100 points higher than the rest of the league average. So it'll be interesting to see here as he continues to go on in his career if starting pitchers adjust to that and start to throw him pitches outside the zone early.
Well, he swings at the first pitch here and fouls it off. The problem with that, Steve, is that when they throw outside the zone, he still seems to make contact.
Which makes him a good hit and run. He's hit and run a couple times successfully this year. And the fact that he's been inserted in the two-hole by Mickey Callaway. Mickey Callaway has called hit and runs with him up, and why not?
More of a traditional number 2 hitter than, say, the Phillies tonight with Justin Bour hitting second in the order. And the Mets earlier this year, they had Cespedes hitting second.
I just wish he had been called up earlier and had a second half to play every day, as opposed to what it's going to be 6 weeks, Gary.
Over the bag, that's a fair ball. That'll go all the way into the corner. And McNeil's got himself another extra base hit. He's going to turn second. He's going to try for 3. The relay throw is loose, and Cabrera's throw is too late. It's a 3-base hit for McNeil, his 4th major league triple. Hit it right over the bag. Williams overthrew the cutoff man, and McNeil gets 3 bases.
Well, nice hitting on the breaking ball, but we talked about the Philly defense, particularly on the corners. They got 2 big lumbering guys, and Santana and Bour. Not a lot of range, so the defense has hurt them in this game, and that's just good hustle by McNeil, aggressive base running, and overthrowing the cutoff man made the difference.
Jeff McNeil is now hitting .442 at Citi Field. Infield comes in for Michael Conforto, and he takes the first pitch curveball down for ball 1. Conforto grounded out his first time up. 3 infielders on the right side, but everybody in. The Mets already up 3-0 in this game.
And they just keep feeding Michael changeups, slow curves, and he's still trying to pull that sinking changeup. And you've got to be able to, you see it enough, you've got to be able to make the adjustment. What am I doing wrong? What do I need to do to correct it?
Conforto looking for his first hit of this series. And he takes a fastball up and in, 2-1.
Boy, St. Louis is all over St. Louis again. I mean, Detroit.
Grounded down to third. The runner will hold. Santana high throw, but Bour stays on the bag, dropped it, but it was on the transfer, and they say the out is recorded. Well, that was a comedy of errors for those 2 lumbering corner infielders. Santana made a bad throw. Bour bailed him out, but lost the ball.
Well, you're rolling the dice with this. Oh, snow cone. And Bour's
no on the transfer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, what is he? 6'4" of Mr. Bour. It's a big man.
And clearly, he was trying to transfer it. So, one convoluted out. Infield stays in for Jay Bruce, and he takes low and in for ball 1. Mets getting a runner in from third with less than 2 out has been a complicated issue this year. Conforto is now just 8 of 22. Bruce is only 2 of 7 this year getting that runner in. both well below average.
Ooh.
And did he go? He did.
Oh, wow.
And a slider running in on him, 1-1. The Mets as a team have gotten a runner in from third with less than 2 out 49% of the time. That is also below league average. They failed in one attempt, and Bruce trying to pick up that run now. Takes the changeup off the plate, 2-1.
So Eflin, his game is that sinking changeup, which he's throwing more to lefties, but he throws inside with that either cutter or the fastball up and in to try to set up the changeup.
Now they walk Bruce intentionally on a 2-1 count. That's issued an intentional walk earlier on a 1-2 count, which was unusual.
Well, I can see that.
Yeah.
On this one.
Sure, it set up a double play, bring up a right-hand batter.
Remember, right now, Gabe Kapler, they're fighting for their playoff life right now. Not only a division, but a wild card. It's no guarantee. That National League wild card, there's a lot of people there, and they can wind up going home. So he's got to manage to win from inning 1 to the 9th. Every game they play the rest of the way.
Now the infield is dropped back. 3 infielders on the left side. And a first pitch slider down for ball 1. Well, there's the wild card. The Phillies are further on the wild card than they are in the division.
Yep, they've got to. They can go home. There's a lot of teams that can go home.
We basically got 8 teams fighting for 5 spots. 9 teams fighting for 5 spots if you want to include the fringe players. It's fouled away, and it's 1-1 to Frazier. Frazier is over 50% this year, getting runner in from third. 13 of 25. Brandon Nimmo on deck. McNeil on third with a leadoff triple. Bruce an intentional walk. And Frazier chases a slider and foul tips it, 1-2.
Chased a bad one there.
Eflin has struck out 3. He's walked 2, allowed 3 runs and 3 hits. And Frazier fouls back the fastball to stay in. Again, the 1-2.
Oh.
And he hits it in the air to deep left field. Back goes Hoskins to the warning track. Back at the wall. It's out of here. Todd Frazier with a 3-run homer. He gets the run home and 2 more. 17 home runs for Todd Frazier, and the Mets lead at 6-0.
Here it is again, and guess what it is, folks? Another hanger. This pitch, from the get-go, Eflin has hung too many, and you just cannot get away with it for that long and that often. And he got hit hard there. 2-strike hanger, and that gives that guy a big lead now.
So 2 hits have produced 6 runs. Nito a 3-run double, Frazier a 3-run homer. And that Mets home run means City will donate enough for No Kid Hungry to provide 20,000 meals to kids in need. Brandon Nimmo walked and scored his first time up. And the Phillies are just now getting warm-up action up in their bullpen.
Hanger, helicopter we used to call it. Just kind of hovering right over the inner half of the plate.
15th home run Eflin was allowed this year. Nimmo flies one out to left. This one's playable. Hoskins puts it away, 2 out. Let's look at the G pitch cast on that home run.
Middle and mid-thigh.
Yeah, that's about perfectly stated. Middle in, mid-thigh. A lot of middle in that.
Very concise.
Jared Eichhoff, who's missed most of the season for the Phillies, is up in the bullpen. There's Dom Smith, who struck out his first time up. And he takes the first pitch slider out of the strike zone. Mets have just 4 hits, producing 6 runs. But the hits have all been big ones. Nito's double, McNeil's triple, Frazier's home run. Mets have 4 hits, and they've hit for the cycle. And now Eflin falls behind on Smith 3-0.
Eflin's slider has just been not very good tonight. Too erratic with it.
(3-1) and Smith takes inside ball 4, and so the inning continues. Third walk given up by Eflin. Let's check out tonight's Verizon trivia question. Who were the 2 players to hit 300 or more home runs in the 1980s?
Well, Mike Schmidt has to be one. Jim Rice.
I mean, this is your era. This is when you played.
I know.
You would know better than anybody.
I don't think Winfield got there. I don't think Dave Parker did.
I think your first 2 guesses are pretty good ones.
I think so too. Well, certainly the first one, Mike Schmidt.
You think just because Mets are playing the Phillies, you think there'd be a Schmidt involvement?
500 home runs too, and I played against him my whole career. He only came up, I think, 2 years ahead of me.
Here's Tomas Nido, delivered the first 3 Met runs with a double over the third base bag. Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach, was out to talk to Eflin while we were jawing about home run hitters in the 80s. Well, these have been rough times for Zach Eflin. His season got off to a very good start, but his last 9 starts, his ERA over 5.5, and he's gotten clubbed here. 3 runs in the second, 3 more in the third, and teetering on the brink of being out of this game. 1-2 to Nido. Well, there's how it started, and there's what's transpired lately. He had a blister problem in the middle of the season, and he never seemed to get it back together after he went on the disabled list in July. He strikes out Nido to end the inning, but the Mets double up their lead on one big swing by Todd Frazier. Todd comes up with 2 men on and disappears one. 17th home run of the year for Frazier. A 3-run shot, and the Mets lead 6-0 after 3. Watch SNY Mets games on any device with live streaming presented by Verizon. You don't even need a paw. Just visit SNY.TV or download the NBC Sports app today for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game.
I've got to, tomorrow after the game, I'm going to have to clip his claws. He's getting a little sharp. He's digging into my neck when he neds me. Oh.
I'm sorry, when he whats you?
Neds. You know,
Neds?
Is that the proper term?
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
You know,
like kneading? Like kneading dough?
Okay. There you go. Kneading?
Kneading.
Okay.
K-N-E-A-D.
You learn something new every day.
You know, we'll keep on advancing the education of all of us. Noah Syndergaard now with a 6-0 lead facing Cesar Hernandez, and he misses with a changeup 1-1. So while the Phillies are down big early here, the Braves have jumped in front early in Phoenix. They're up 2-0 on the Diamondbacks.
I can tell you one thing, Garrett, when you're on the West Coast and you're taking BP when this game is on and you see the team playing back east, your competitor down 6-0, that is okay, guys, let's go. Let's pick up a game.
Hernandez chops one over the head of Frazier and into left field. The old Baltimore chop. And Hernandez has his second hit of the night. It's like we were playing on AstroTurf. So a leadoff base runner for the Phillies, and now Odubel Herrera. Herrera wound up being intentionally walked his first time up. Hernandez aboard at first. He stole a base when he reached in the second inning. Not likely to be running here down by 6 runs, but you never know. With Syndergaard on the mound, they may feel as though that's one way to go.
I think you wouldn't do it, but you never know in today's game. I mean, everything is different today, but 6 runs down, you would not attempt to steal.
That's line caught by Bruce. Double play. Herrera broke his bat, lined it right to Bruce. Hernandez was a dead duck.
Well, look at Jay, came off the bag. See that? Always try to get to the cut of the grass there. Always come off. Don't be lazy. Very good, Jay. And there you go. Nothing that Hernandez can do about that.
And nothing Hernandez could teach him to do better.
Oh, it's a line drive. Just like playing catch.
Now J.P. Crawford will be the pinch hitter batting for Eflin. Crawford, who began the year as the Phillies' starting shortstop, has had a miserable year of underperformance and injury. He's hit just 194 in the big leagues. And he fouls off a first pitch fastball, 0-1. So the Mets turning double plays for Syndergaard each of the last 2 innings. And Jared Eichhoff, who has yet to throw a pitch in the major leagues this year, has been out all year with a lat injury. Looks like he is ready to make his initial appearance of 2018. And in fact, for Eichhoff, it'll be the first time he will have ever played in a major league game out of the bullpen. He's been a starter his whole career. One and 1 to Crawford, and he lifts that one to left. Should be easy for Dom Smith. And that retires the side. So after the leadoff hit, the double play helps out Syndergaard. Middle of the 4th, 6-0 New York. broke Roger Maris's record in 1998 off the bat of Mark McGuire. Legends of the Game presented by Budweiser, the legendary lager for legendary moments. Here's the list of all-time single-season home run records. Might want to direct your eye toward the bottom of that list. The last two.
I did.
Jared Eichhoff makes his season debut for the Phillies as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Member of the Phillies rotation each of the last 2 years, suffered a lat injury in spring training, has been out all season. Noah Syndergaard can sympathize since he missed 4.5 months with a lat injury last year. Eichhoff 2 years ago looked like he was going to be a mainstay in that rotation. Had a really good rookie year, or at least first full year.
Yes, 33 starts, 11 and 14 with a 3.65 earned run average.
And did Syndergaard swing? He did. Got him with the curveball for the first out. So Eichhoff's first big league hitter of the season, he gets a strikeout. Now Ahmed Rosario, who has struck out and flied out over 2. So Zach Eflin went 3 innings, allowed 6 runs on 4 hits, walked 3, 1 intentional, struck out 5, and allowed a home run. So that means that Eflin over his last 10 starts has a 6.26 ERA. And for a Phillies team that has been offensively starved and struggles defensively, they have to lean on their pitching. And when they get a start like that, it's obviously troublesome when you're in the midst of a pennant race, but it also explains why the Phillies are 10-17 over their last 27 games.
Well, this kind of game right here gives them a look at Eichhoff, because he is a starter, and you know, you're down to the wire here. And if Eflin, who has not pitched well, I mean, he did not pitch well tonight. He got hit pretty hard. You know, you could make, if Eichhoff pitches well, you might be able to get him into the rotation.
Well, he made 8 rehab starts at 3 different levels, but pitched a total of only 31 innings. So it makes you wonder, if you did move Eichhoff into the rotation, how many innings could he give you? But you know, the way the game is played these days, if he can give you 5, to rely on what has been a fairly strong Phillies bullpen, might work. Curveball off the plate, and it's 2-2 to Rosario. But right now, Eichhoff just trying to get his feet wet in his 2018 debut. 2-2 coming, and Rosario with a late swing foul. Eichhoff's never been a particularly hard thrower, but he can throw both his slider and curveball for strikes when he is on.
I guarantee you, he'll be given a good hard look.
That's line to right center, and Rosario's got a base hit. Herrera trying to cut it off. Rosario's going to try for 2. The throw by Herrera is not in time. It gets away, and Rosario legs out a double. His 24th double of the year.
Good high fastball up and away, goes right with it. And Rosario has all of a sudden putting together a nice little season, nice finish.
This is the part of his game that Mickey Callaway was raving about the last couple of days. He said now when he gets down in the count, he's just looking to hit the ball the other way.
Well, yeah, it's good 2-strike inning. You got to protect the plate there.
Earlier this season, that wasn't necessarily the case for Ahmed. He was looking to drive everything. But he has settled into a nice groove. So is this guy, Jeff McNeil, who pulled a triple over the first base bag and scored in the third, 1 for 2. You don't know how it's going to shake out because you don't know exactly how this team's going to look next year. But you could do worse than having these 2 young players hitting 1-2 in your batting order at the start of next year.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a little bit of ray of sunshine there. Of course, they've got to go out and perform. But, boy, it's a nice little 1-2 in your lineup, isn't it?
Curveball drilled into right field. That's down for a base hit. Rosario held up. He'll go to third and stop there. So McNeil has his second hit of the night. And the Mets have first and third and one out.
Both on breaking balls here. Really not a good read by Rosario. Nick Williams playing deep in right field. This ball clearly a base hit, should have scored. You see Rosario's read here. Just when you're a low ball hitter, that breaking ball breaks down low in the strike zone. You never want to throw a breaking ball up in the strike zone. It's a hanger, right, folks? You want to throw it down in the strike zone. Well, if you're a good low ball hitter, it also makes you a good breaking ball hitter, or it should.
Another chance now for Michael Conforto to get a runner in from third. He came up with McNeil at third base in the third inning and grounded out. Michael's 0 for 2 tonight. 3 infielders on the right side. So this is one of those situations where the Phillies have the infield at double play depth. You've got Cabrera playing on the right side of the bag, but if he has to move to his left for a ground ball, you can't possibly turn a double play.
You've got a very good point there,
and we've seen that happen before to teams in this kind of a shift this year.
So you're giving up an awful lot, in my opinion.
Conforto fouls one away, 2-1. Jay Bruce on deck. We have exhaustively documented how difficult it has been for the Mets to score runs at Citi Field this year. This is not one of those nights.
Well, 2 swings, 6 runs.
And a chance for more now. And now Eichhoff behind on Conforto, 3-1. Eichhoff struck out Syndergaard to start his stint. But Rosario and McNeil with base hits.
I would send McNeil here. Boy, look at that. I mean, you just saw that defense, folks. The left side of the infield's wide open for Michael.
And Conforto fouls it away. Full count. Well, McNeil was not going on 3-1. We'll see if he goes on 3-2. The problem is Conforto has struck out 141 times this year.
I understand that, and that is just hard to fathom.
Not going, and he strikes out on a high slider. Second strikeout for Eichhoff, and there are 2 out in the inning. So that's twice Conforto's come up with a runner at third and less than 2 out and not gotten them in.
This pitch was out of the strike zone. Heading to count, a little over anxious.
So 2 out. It's left to Jay Bruce, who has singled and been intentionally walked. He has scored both times. They're playing well off the line at third, so Rosario can walk as far down the line as he wants. And Bruce goes after a first pitch breaking ball, 0-1. Not only are they playing far off the line, but that's Santana playing third base, who would be hard pressed to sprint to the bag if Rosario got too far off. Bruce muscles one out to left. Coming on is Hoskins, and it's going to land for a base hit. Rosario scores. McNeil to third. The defensively challenged Phillies strike again, and the Mets lead 7-0. A pop fly by Bruce that falls for an RBI single to stretch the Mets lead.
Well, I don't think that. Well, number one, Hoskins did not get a good jump on this ball. And boy, oh boy, is this just glaring, this defense, the Philly defense here?
Ball's got to be caught, but the other piece of it is that because you're in the shift, shortstop's nowhere in the neighborhood. So Bruce will take it. McNeil went first to third on the play, and now Todd Frazier, who had a 3-run homer his last time up, bats again with 2 men on. And he takes a knee-high fastball for a strike. Todd's home run was his 17th of the year. It snapped an 0 for 10 stretch for Todd. That's a score now in 3 straight innings. 3 in the second, 3 in the third, 1 home here in the fourth. And Eichhoff misses away, a ball and a strike. I mean, you look around the field at this Phillies defense, you cannot identify a single plus defender.
Well,
I mean, even the guys who play all the time, Nick Williams in right, Odubel Herrera in center, maybe Cesar Hernandez at second base, probably the best defender on the field. I mean, Cabrera, we know, has got good hands, but doesn't have any range.
If we're talking strictly range, I mean, I look in terms of Stratomatic. I see nothing but 4s on the infield except for Hernandez.
And slider stays inside, and again, Eichhoff's behind in the count, 3-1. Phillies are going to get some further action going in their bullpen. Austin Davis, who had his cheat card taken away by Joe West last week, is up. Frazier cracks this one to center. Herrera should have room this time. And goes back to grab it, and that retires the side. Mets add a run on the Bruce pop fly RBI, and it's 7-0 New York. Who hit 300 or more home runs in the 1980s. We figured Mike Schmidt. Oh, Dale Murphy.
Oh, Dale Murphy.
He won a couple of MVPs.
Both National Leaguers.
Both in your division. You remember that? National League East. 7-0 New York as we go to the fifth. Hasn't been smooth sailing for Noah Syndergaard. He's walked 4 and given up 4 hits, but no runs thus far. Now will start his 3rd tour of the Phillies batting order. Carlos Santana leads off and takes the first pitch curveball out of the strike zone for ball 1. Santana had a base hit to right field his last time up. He's now hit in 10 straight games. Good changeup, and it's 1-1. Jacob deGrom pitches tomorrow in the final game of the series if you're keeping tabs on the Cy Young race. Max Scherzer pitched this afternoon for the Nats in the opener of their doubleheader with the Cubs. He got his 17th win, and he went the distance. Scattered 9 hits, struck out 11, but gave up 3 runs. So his ERA goes up. Scherzer's now at 2.31. Aaron Nola at 2.29. And DeGrom leading the pack by even more now at 1.68 going into his start tomorrow.
Well, I think it's pretty clear that DeGrom's ERA is not going to get over 2 runs per game.
McNeil on the backhand, similar play to last night, and he throws out Santana. 1 away. McNeil has been so much better than advertised defensively.
Well, when he first came up, Gary, he had trouble turning the double play. It looked like he didn't have a strong arm, but now there's nothing wrong with that throw. You're throwing, this is 2 nights in a row here. You make a backhand, you're running over, your momentum's carrying you away from the bag, and a strong throw, accurate.
Last night, the one he made against Cabrera took a fantastic pick by Dom Smith. This time, the throw was right on target. Justin Bour takes a strike. Let's check in with Steve.
Gary, you mentioned 3rd time through the lineup for Noah Syndergaard right now, and strangely enough, Syndergaard actually gets significantly better when it's 3rd and 4th time through the lineup. First 2 times through the lineup, hitters are batting about 300 against Noah Syndergaard, but 3rd and 4th, they're just hitting 218 off of Syndergaard. And it was interesting. Mickey Callaway had a kind of offbeat reason why he thought that was, and it was the fact that Syndergaard is such a big guy. With the bigger guys, sometimes repeating your delivery is a little bit tougher, and he thinks with Syndergaard, he just settles in as the game moves on. It's something we actually saw in that complete game start against the Giants.
Well, it's his motion, and I've always said there's no one on base for him to worry about when he can go in his windup and really do a nice rhythmic windup if he wanted. But he's very compact in his motion. A lot of it is just, he's got such great arm strength that it takes him a while to get his rhythm. And you wouldn't think so with even though he's got 4 walks tonight, which is very uncharacteristic, you would think he'd walk more people, but he doesn't.
Bour hits one just to the left of the bag, and there's Todd Frazier in an uncharacteristic spot. Got all the way to the right side of the infield before he threw him out, and that's the 2nd out.
Like an old shortstop. Well, I shouldn't say old. Sorry, Todd.
You mean sometime in his past when he was a shortstop?
Yes.
Just to clarify. So 2 out and nobody on. Syndergaard has a chance for his first 1-2-3 inning of the night, but he has to get through Wilson Ramos, who's already walked and doubled down the left field line.
Boy, he's not getting a low strike off Mark Carlson. He is not a low ball umpire. That borderline knees he's consistent, but he does not give it to the pitcher.
And that's where Syndergaard likes to work.
That's where he likes to live.
Toward the middle of the diamond, Rosario flashes over, makes it look easy. Side retired. 3 ground ball outs for Noah Syndergaard, his first 1-2-3 inning of the night. Halfway through, 7-0 Mets.
For the New York Mets' success in 1969 certainly has been a great team effort, I think. I believe this is the best team effort of any ball club I've ever seen. Everyone on the ball club contributed a great deal to the success of the Mets.
Yeah, including a scrappy little shortstop, Darrell McKinley Harrelson, better known as Bud. He was a member of the 1969 Mets, the 73 Mets. He was a coach for the 86 Mets. Bud Harrelson, about as identified with the Mets franchise as anybody who's ever worn the uniform. As lefty Austin Davis comes in to pitch the bottom of the fifth. And as you may know, Buddy has been suffering from Alzheimer's disease. And it is a great thing that Bud Harrelson tonight is back in the ballpark here at Citi Field with his family, trying to raise awareness for Alzheimer's research.
Well, Buddy was first base coach for the Mets, also shortstop for the Phillies, went over to the Phillies. When Bobby Valentine left to manage the Texas Rangers, Buddy Harrelson took over as our third base coach. One of the best third base coaches. I'm not just saying this. I'm very fortunate to have Bobby Valentine, Bud Harrelson, and Preston Gomez as the three great third base coaches of my career, my 17 years. And it's so critical to have a quality third base coach in baseball.
And of course later he also managed the Mets after Davey Johnson was removed in 1990. Managed the rest of the 90 season and the 91 season as well. But you know, the other thing about Buddy is just he's the nicest guy.
Yes.
And it was great to see him today. He looks wonderful, and his family has done a fantastic job of helping him through this insidious disease that I know is very close to your understanding.
Yes, and my experiences with my mom, of course. So it was great to see Buddy, the greatest, one of the best BP throwers too, folks. Right over the top, ball four to Brandon Nimmo on base again. That's 2 walks today, on base twice out of 3 at bats.
There's Buddy in all his 150-pound splendor.
That's Pete Rose, is it not? Is that prior to the? That is September 7th, so that was not.
Yeah, that was the next year.
That was, yes, the next year, and it would have been a stretch run too.
Well, actually, it was 3 years before. 73, of course, is when the National League Championship Series scuffle between Buddy and the much larger Pete Rose took place.
Buddy was a baseball man, very knowledgeable, knew the fundamentals.
Smith grounds one to second. Hernandez gets the out with Santana covering, and that's all they'll get. 4-5 on the fielder's choice. And Smith aboard. There they are.
There it is.
Buddy was about 150 pounds, and Rose was about 200.
The only thing equal was probably their size, the height, I should say.
Rose took a hard slide into second. Buddy took exception, and they went at it, and the bench is cleared. My favorite part about that story was when it was all over and there were hats scattered on the field, and
Bourbon.
Reds reliever Pedro Bourbon picked up Buzz Capra's hat and put it on his head and realized it was a Mets hat, and he took a bite out of it.
It took a good healthy bite, like a bite out of an apple.
Tomas Nido had a 3-run double, and he skies this one to shallow center, and retreating is Hernandez to make the grab, and that's the second out. Final game of this series tomorrow afternoon. Jacob deGrom tries to continue to burnish his Cy Young credentials against Vince Velasquez. Our coverage begins at 12:30 tomorrow right here on SNY. Anyway, it was great seeing Buddy tonight. It's, you know, I've said many times he was my favorite player growing up, and was happy to be able to take a picture with Buddy tonight, and that'll be something I'll treasure.
I needled him as he walked in and said, "Buddy, I have dreams of your BP to this day." And I really sleep well because all I see is line drives all over the field. And Buddy looked at me and goes, he grabbed her by the arm and goes, Let's go out. I'll throw to you.
He's got that kind of sense of humor still. Syndergaard strikes out for the third time tonight. He'll head back to the mound with 5 scoreless innings under his belt. 7-0 Mets as we go to the 6th. Giants out for the final 6 innings on Sunday, and he shut the Phillies out for the first 5 innings tonight. 11 straight scoreless innings for Noah. And he'll take a 7-0 lead to the mound for the 6th inning. Jack Reinheimer has taken over for Dominic Smith in left field. I don't know if Dom hurt himself or if this is strictly for defense. It'd be a little surprising to take Dom out since they're trying to get a look at him.
I know.
Unless there's something wrong,
yes.
So we'll try to find out.
7-0 game in the middle.
Syndergaard will face Rhys Hoskins leading off in the 6th inning. Hoskins has flied out and walked so far tonight. We have a perfect game alert. The Kansas City Royals' Jorge Lopez is working on a perfect game through 6 innings in Minnesota. 69 pitches in 6 innings. We'll keep you updated. Hoskins, Cabrera, and Williams for the Phillies in the 6th. And a slider in at the knees for a strike, 0-1. Syndergaard treaded water through trouble over the first 4 innings. Got a couple of double plays along the way. Got his first 1-2-3 inning in the 5th. And he gets the changeup in for a strike, and it's 0-2. Three infielders on the left side against Hoskins, who homered last night, his 28th. And he pops this one foul. Nito back for a look, but that'll be in the crowd. Also tonight, Gio Gonzalez is making his first start for the Milwaukee Brewers after coming over in trade, and so far so good for Gio. Giants just got a run in the 6th inning after he'd shut him out for the first 5. 0-2 coming, and Hoskins smacks one to left field. Back goes Reinheimer, and that ball sails out of here. Another home run for Rhys Hoskins, his 2nd in 2 nights, his 29th of the year. And the Phillies are on the board. It's now 7-1. So Hoskins on an 0-2 pitch, and he hit that ball real hard.
Right down the pipe and upstairs. And there was a no doubt there.
Syndergaard had gone 49 straight innings without allowing a home run. It's only the 7th home run he's allowed this season. Last time he allowed a home run, it was August 1st. He gave one up to Anthony Rendon of the Nationals. So Hoskins ends that stretch, and now Cabrera drives one down the right field line, and that's a base hit. And Conforto can't cut it off. And Cabrera will pull into second base. So back-to-back base hits against Syndergaard. We'll see how they score that.
I think it's going to be a double. Breaking ball. Hanging right down the middle. You got to give that a double, don't you, Gare?
I think so. It's very funny. The scoreboard operator just put up an error, just as the official scorer was saying double. So it's not an error, it's a double. Even though there's a 1 in the error column. Here's Nick Williams. Those things happen simultaneously. It was very funny.
Contact on the Hoskins home run. You could see an 0-2 pitch, not where Noah wanted to throw it. Belt high, down the middle. Full extension of the arms.
So Syndergaard trying to settle back in now after back-to-back extra base hits. Nick Williams has struck out and flied out 0 for 2. And he hits one softly to short. And Rosario takes care of him as Cabrera crosses to third, 1 away. Let's check in with the studio. Eamon McEnany has a game break brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. Eamon. That's the first game of a doubleheader after those teams got rained out in excruciating fashion last night. Now Cesar Hernandez with a runner at third and 1 out. Infield back, and he dribbles one. That'll get the run in. Now Bruce with Syndergaard late to cover has no play as the run comes home to make it 7-2. That's on Syndergaard, who did not get over to cover. It'll be an infield hit for Hernandez, his 3rd hit of the night.
He certainly did not cover, Gare. Here you can see clearly the hesitation. Just that one little stutter step, and that was all she wrote.
As often said, Keith, he who hesitates is lost.
It's left behind.
I mean, the run was going to score anyway, but it just provides some more traffic for Syndergaard to deal with. That's the Phillies' 7th hit. No hint of action yet in the Mets bullpen. Syndergaard at 75 pitches for the night. Here's Odubel Herrera, who lined into a double play his last time up with Hernandez aboard. Change up off the plate. The ball and a strike. It's amazing, isn't it, the difference that 6 days can make?
Yes.
Everything worked for Syndergaard last Sunday. It was almost too easy.
He's had 2 hiccups here, this inning and the 3rd. And he was lucky to get out of that 3rd inning without a run. And left a bases loaded jam.
You see him talking to himself after he got the swing and miss on that changeup. Like, where was that before? 1-2 to Herrera. Michael Franco's on deck to pinch hit. And one in the dirt, 2-2.
A lot of pitches.
Here's Franco, who's been laid up with a wrist injury. Saw a doctor, said it was a bone bruise, and he pronounced himself good to go. And so he's ready to pinch hit. Franco had been one of the hottest Phillies hitter when he went down. 2-2. And Herrera lays off the changeup, and it's 3-2.
It's like Noah's messing around too much with his secondary pitches here.
Adam Morgan, the left-hander. Edebry Ramos, the right-hander, up in the Phillies bullpen. Nobody up in the Mets pen. Syndergaard's faced 4 hitters, giving up 3 hits in this inning. Now he's gone 3-2 on Herrera. Hernandez at first with 1 out. Not running, and Herrera slashes 1 foul. Yet another changeup. The 2 teams at the top of the American League West both won. Houston beat Boston for the 2nd straight day. Alex Bregman had his 30th home run, and the A's blew a lead. And then Matt Olson homered in the 8th, and they beat Texas 8-6. So they stay 3.5 behind Houston. Again, the 3-2. Inside, ball 4. That is the 5th walk given up by Syndergaard, which matches his career high, as opposed to last Sunday when he was impeccable.
That would be in San Francisco, his 2-hit complete game. And he threw strikes. But here, Phillies, he hasn't been able to command that changeup. He's wanting to throw that changeup, and he's not getting it over.
He walked 1, struck out 11 that day. Here he has walked 5 and struck out only 3, and he hasn't struck anybody out since the 2nd inning. So it's definitely a different feel to this game for Noah. But he's got himself a 5-run lead. Dave Allen was just out to talk to him. And now Michael Franco will come up to pinch hit. Franco has really had a good second half. Hasn't been chasing nearly as much as he had in the past. But he has not done well as a pinch hitter. He's 0 for 8 pinch hitting this year. Comes up here with 2 men on. Hernandez at second, Herrera at first. Good speed on the bases for the Phils. And Franco grounds a double play ball. Rosario to McNeil, and on to first. Double play, side retired. Just like that, 1 pitch gets Syndergaard out of trouble. The Mets' 3rd double play of the night. Phillies get 2, including a Hoskins home run, but the Mets still up 5. Three-run double for Tomas Nido. Three-run homer for Todd Frazier. Jay Bruce, couple of hits and an RBI. Jeff McNeil, a triple among his 2 hits. Mets having themselves a good offensive night at Citi Field. Hey, parents, your child could join us in the booth to call a half inning of a Mets game on SNY. Just go to sny.tv/KidCaster and enter your child's video audition for a chance to win the 2018 SNY KidCaster contest. Edebry Ramos into pitch. Ahmed Rosario up to swing. Grounds one to Hernandez. 1 pitch and 1 out for Ramos.
There's Ramos's numbers on the year. Well, he just added to that first batter's faced. Another retirement there. Doesn't walk very many guys. That's it. 1 batter, huh?
1 pitch. Throws 1 pitch. See you, Edebry. It was nice, nice introducing you into the game. Well, the righty is out. The lefty's coming in. The call to the bullpen is brought to you by Verizon. Hi, Adam Morgan. We'll be right back. Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Adam Morgan, your next contestant. 5th pitcher of the night for the Phillies, comes in to face Jeff McNeil with 1 out. McNeil has 2 hits already tonight, a triple and a single. Word on Dom Smith as he left the game with a tight left groin. That's why Reinheimer came in to play left field in the last inning. And the breaking ball fouled off, and it's 1-1 to McNeil, who has a base hit in his only career at bat against Adam Morgan. Zach Eflin started, went 3 innings, allowed 6 runs on 4 hits. Jared Eichhoff in his season debut, an inning, a run, 3 hits. Austin Davis, a hitless 5th. Edebry Ramos threw 1 pitch and got an out, and now it's Morgan. And it's a base hit for McNeil, his 3rd of the night.
Nice little table setter.
2 hits to right field, and now he takes the left-hander to left field.
Well, just good hitting. That ball wanted to be away, was inner half, and just a nice little stroke to left field. You're on base.
He's been doing that a lot. He's now hitting .331 in the major leagues. There aren't a lot of .331s around these days.
So patience, patience. It's only a single, but it's the beginning of maybe something big.
Here's Conforto, who's 0 for 3 tonight. He takes a fastball for a strike. Who's leading the National League in hitting today? It's Scooter Gennett of the Cincinnati Reds, who came in the day leading the National League in batting at 317. So here's Jeff McNeil through 142 at bats, hitting 331. So you can talk all you want about the home run taking over the game, but if you got a guy who can hit 330, 320, 310, there'll be a place for that guy. That's lined into right field, falling fast. That's a base hit. McNeil around second, read it well. He'll go to third. And Conforto's got his first hit in this series, and the Mets have first and third and one out.
No, Morgan yet to get a lefty out. Hanging slider. And off the end of the bat for Conforto, a soft liner into right, and good instincts from McNeil. He knew the ball was going to drop. He's at third base. Went all the way first to third. He continues to show good instincts on the bases.
Well, there's nobody up behind Morgan in the Phillies bullpen. You got another left-hand hitter coming up now in Bruce, and then the right-hand hitter Frazier. Bruce has been on base 3 times in a row tonight, 2 singles and a walk. He's driven in 1. He's scored 2. And that one kicks away briefly from Ramos, but nobody advances. Mets were up 7-0. The Phillies got a couple of runs in the top of this inning, and the Mets are trying to get those runs right back against the Philadelphia bullpen, which came into the day with a streak of 11 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings. That's now in jeopardy. Last night, with Aaron Nola going 7, Phillies got 2 perfect innings out of their bullpen. Big slider by Morgan. That's 1-1. That's where the Phillies are. 2.5 back as play starts tonight. Braves are tied 2-2 with the Diamondbacks in the third at Chase Field. One and 2 to Bruce. This is what remains for the 2 contenders in the National League East.
Well, they got 7 games against each other. That is key, and that's what you need to see in September. Divisional play.
1-2 coming. Infield comes in, and Bruce takes a slider out of the strike zone. 2-2. So they had the infield back until 2 strikes, and then Gabe Kapler brings them in, which is interesting. The double play is still in order, so I don't know why you'd bring the infield in with 2 strikes. And now it's inside, and it's ball 3. Do you understand that?
No, I don't.
I mean, if it were a different situation and you had a fast guy at the plate or something like that, I could understand it, but I don't know why you'd play back until 2 strikes and then bring him in when the double play is still in order. McNeil at third, Conforto at first, and Bruce lays off, ball 4, bases loaded. So Bruce is on base for the 4th straight time. And the Mets have a chance to add to their lead with Todd Frazier coming up against the lefty.
How about Morgan? 3 left-hand hitters, and he cannot get any of them out. And here's a Frazier home run, the 3-run home run that gave the Mets that 6-0 lead. That was in the 3rd. And Gabe Kapler, who brought a right-hander in to face Rosario, pulled him to face the left-hander to face 3 lefties, doesn't go out and get a right-hander to face Frazier.
Ball 1 to Frazier. The Mets have hit 7 grand slams this year. Frazier has 1 of them. McNeil at third, Conforto at second, Bruce at first. Infield stays in. I don't get it, Keith. It's a double play situation. You're just begging him to hit it by you when you've got a chance to play a little deeper and play for 2.
Well, they're finally getting someone up in the bullpen, a right-hander. And that right-hander is not going to be ready for a while, and not throwing with any real urgency.
Well, you have a left-hand hitter on deck.
A little bit of urgency to get loose. You know, the bases are loaded.
Luis Garcia is the right-hander up in the pen. 2-0 to Frazier, and he swings and flies it to shallow right. Williams coming on. And here he comes. McNeil trying to score, and he does. On a short sacrifice fly, McNeil dashes home, and it's 8-2. Well, that's the second time this week that he's done that. He did that at Dodger Stadium as well. On a foul fly down the left field line, came home on a short sac fly, and he does it again.
Well, Williams has not have a strong arm. That's good scouting right there. Glenn Sherlock sends McNeil, and that's just because you haven't got the good arm out there. Take advantage of it. There, anybody with any kind of an arm would have held.
He did that to Jock Peterson in L.A. That was the ball that Yasmani Grandal dropped at the plate. Otherwise, he would have been out. This time, he was safe easily. And the Mets tack on a run. Now Nimmo with first and third and 2 out. So give Frazier his 4th RBI of the night and his 57th of the year. Boy, how many different defensive deficiencies have the Phillies displayed in this game. We came into the broadcast talking about how they sacrificed defense for offense tonight, and it has been on full display.
Well, that's okay if you've got a lineup that's murderer's row, but you've got a team that's come into the series what, 11th in runs, 14th in BA. It's not a murderer's row lineup.
Which I guess is why they felt they had to get as much offense in as possible. And Nimmo lines a base hit, and that'll bring in a run. Hanging breaking ball on 0-2. And Conforto comes in to score the second run of the inning, and the Mets, after giving up a pair in the top, get them right back. It's 9-2.
Well, Morgan, I tell you what. Ouch.
He's faced 4 left-hand hitters. He's given up 3 hits and a walk.
Hanger. Right there. You stay in. That ball, good hitting by Nimmo.
Jack Reinheimer will be coming up for the first time. Luis Garcia has been throwing in the bullpen. So Gabe Kapler brought in his lefty to face a string of 5 hitters, 4 of them left-handed, and all 4 left-handers reached base. That was not part of the plan. Luis Garcia appears to be ready if needed, and here comes Kapler. So they wasted enough time to get Garcia fully warmed up, and now the Philly manager will bring in his 6th pitcher of the game. Mets have tacked on 2 in the 6th to lead 9-2. Morgan out, Garcia in. We'll be right back. Catch the first edition of The Sweat, presented by DraftKings, tomorrow at 11 a.m. only on SNY. Luis Garcia will be the 6th Philadelphia pitcher to work in the first 6 innings of this game.
They got plenty more out there in that bullpen.
7 left. Jack Reinheimer up for the first time and takes a slider for a strike. Reinheimer came in when Dom Smith left the game with what they're calling a tight left groin. Boy, nothing has been a straight line for Dom Smith this year, going all the way back to the start of spring training. Remember, he was late the first day and they benched him. Then he finally got in the game and he hurt a quad and was out for the rest of the spring. And now he hits a home run last night, gets a chance to play again tonight, and he's out of the game with a groin injury.
And if it's a groin injury, he's not going to be playing for a little bit.
Reinheimer struck out in his only at bat last night. Down to the count here, 0-2. And he goes down swinging on the splitter, and that ends the inning. But the Mets get 2 runs in the bottom of the 6th and lead it 9-2 going to the 7th. As he takes the mound for the 7th inning. Top of the batting order, Carlos Santana leads off for the Phillies. Santana 1 for 3 tonight, singled back in the 3rd, one of 7 hits against Syndergaard tonight. Jack Reinheimer has moved from left field to 3rd base. Michael Conforto from right to left. Austin Jackson into place center. And Brandon Nimmo has moved from center to right. Foul ball onto the dugout roof. 0-1 to Santana. So it's Conforto, Jackson, and Nimmo left to right in the outfield. Reinheimer now at 3rd. Frazier came out of the game after his sacrifice fly. So Jackson hits in Frazier's spot. And Santana takes a changeup off the plate, 1-1. Justin Bour on deck, then Wilson Ramos for the Phillies. Full shift on against Santana. His base hit tonight gave him a 10-game hitting streak. Syndergaard pitching into the 7th despite walking 5 and giving up 7 hits. So the big lead since the 2nd inning. And now he's behind on Santana, 3-1.
He just got a 7-run lead here in the 7th. Pound the strike zone.
Santana lines one up the middle. He's got a base hit. So Carlos Santana with his 2nd hit of the night and hit number 8 for the Phillies against Syndergaard.
There's that two-seamer he wants to throw. That ball sinking, and Santana, as a pull hitter, goes the opposite way. Surprise, surprise.
Now Justin Bour, who's been up 3 times, struck out, grounded into a double play, and then grounded out to the 3rd baseman, who was playing up the middle. This time they play him straight up in a double play situation. Now that makes sense, right? You got a double play situation, so you play in positions where you can actually turn a double play.
Agreed.
Even though you've got a left-handed pull hitter up. Mets have turned 3 double plays in this game, 2 on the ground, 1 on a line drive. And change up off the plate, 1-1 to Bour.
Al, what are you laughing at, Al? You should pay attention to your camera too.
Do you know that last night our high home cameraman Al was featured on the Phillies broadcast?
He was.
Now there's something wrong there. Cross pollination.
There he is. Ugh. Yeah.
He gets more attention than any cameraman in the business.
Eyes front.
Why is Russ still wearing the hat? Is it because he's cold?
He's very stoic.
Looks like he should be standing in front of a cigar store. Have we mentioned Jorge Lopez?
No, you don't have to.
He's now 3 outs away from a perfect game. That's more important than Al Freeman. Grounded down to first, a foul ball. Bruce acted as though it was fair, but it was clearly called foul. Mickey Callaway wants a clarification, and he gets one and goes back in the dugout. So there hasn't been a perfect game in the majors since Felix Hernandez 6 years ago, and 25-year-old Jorge Lopez is 3 outs away from one tonight for the Kansas City Royals in Minnesota. Grounded foul by Bour. So even in September, when you got 2 non-contending teams going head-to-head, never know what you might see when you go to the ballpark. As that young right-hander, Mr. Lopez, trying to make some history. 7th pitch of the at-bat to Bour, and he pops one up in foul ground. Nito coming back for a look, but that's out of play. Lopez is at 100 pitches through 8 innings. So I don't think there's any question they're going to send him out there for the night. These days you never know. The way young pitchers are closely monitored. Bour pulls one into right field for a base hit. Santana will go first to third. And the Phillies have something working here in the 7th. First and third and nobody out. And that'll get the Mets bullpen stirring around.
It certainly will. And this is another hanging breaking ball here that stays up in the strike zone that Bour slashes into right field. There's the old circle.
So first and third and nobody out, and now Wilson Ramos, who's doubled and walked tonight, 1 for 2. And he takes a fastball riding inside for ball 1. Mets will have the infield back at double play depth. 7-run lead. They've already turned 3 double plays. Robert Gesellman, first man up in the Mets bullpen. And Ramos lines one to center. Jackson will have to play it on the hop. That's a base hit. It'll bring in Santana. 3 straight hits for the Phillies. Ramos drives in a run, and now it's 9-3 New York.
Well, Ramos can hit.
His second hit of the night.
He hits because he can go the other way naturally. He's a good hitter.
10 hits now allowed by Syndergaard. That matches his season high. He gave up 10 against the Braves back in May. Jerry Blevins up alongside Gesellman. Looks like Noel will get one more batter with Rhys Hoskins coming up. Hoskins took him deep his last time up on an 0-2 pitch. Still a 6-run lead for New York, but it's been a slog for Syndergaard. 10 hits and 5 walks tonight. And he moves Hoskins back off the plate. Ball 1. Bohr at second, Ramos at first, still nobody out. And Hoskins takes a curveball for a strike, and it's 1-1. As Drupal Cabrera waiting next. One and one to Hoskins. Misses low and inside. 2-1.
Making it tough on himself here, and all of a sudden Noah's just back-to-back innings here. He is struggling.
Gave up 3 hits and a couple of runs in the 6th. He's given up 3 hits and a run here in the 7th. And Hoskins takes a curveball for a strike. 2-2.
Well, that was that borderline low pitch that hasn't been going the pitcher's way so much with Mark Carlson, the home plate umpire. He called that one a strike, and rightly so.
Syndergaard over 100 pitches for the 6th consecutive start. It's the longest streak of his career of 100 plus. 2-2. Struck him out. He gets Hoskins with a changeup for the first out of the inning, and his first strikeout since the 2nd inning. His 4th of the night. Let's check in with Eamon McEnany in the studio. Eamon's got another game break. Eamon? That's some excitement for a team that really needs some. The Royals have already lost 94 games this year. So now 1st and 2nd and 1 out. And here's Cabrera, who's walked and doubled tonight, 1 for 2. And as Drupal lines one into center for a base hit, Bohr to 3rd. He'll be held up there as Jackson gets it in. The 4th hit of the inning, and that loads him up with 1 out. And you have to figure that's the end of the line for Syndergaard. You got the left-hand hitter Nick Williams coming up. Blevins is up alongside Gesellman in the bullpen.
Well, you got Jose Bautista in the on the bench for the Phils. You would think that there would be a pinch hitter if Blevins is brought in.
Well, no move from the Mets dugout, so looks like Syndergaard may continue on at least for one more. Behind Williams, you've got the switch hitting Cesar Hernandez, and then the left-hand hitter Odubel Herrera. So a run in here in the 7th, bases loaded, 1 out, and the Phillies have a chance to get right back in this game. Williams is 0 for 3, struck out, flied out, grounded out. And Syndergaard goes with the first pitch changeup and misses for ball 1.
You just get in trouble with secondary pitches if you fall behind in the count.
Bohr at 3rd, Ramos at 2nd, Cabrera at 1st. None of those 3 run well. the way, 1-1. Just think about where Syndergaard might be tonight if not for the 3 double plays turned behind him.
You're right. Good point.
I mean, you're talking about 16 base runners against Noah tonight, 11 hits and 5 walks. At 106 pitches, his season high is 115. That came the last time he faced the Phillies. And Williams gets tied up, but Syndergaard doesn't get the call, and it's 2-1.
Where was that pitch? I'll say one thing. Noah doesn't. He keeps his composure. That might have missed. Yep. Good call.
It's that way with cyborgs. Bases loaded, 1 out, 2-1 to Williams. And he breaks his bat as he pops it up. Rosario back, calling and making the catch. Infield fly rule was never called because it was not a routine enough play, but that's the second out. So Mickey Callaway sticking with his big right-hander, and he'll stick with him again to face Cesar Hernandez, it would appear.
Very interesting here. 1 out away from getting out of another jam. Another bases loaded jam.
Mickey was talking before the game tonight. He was asked what kind of an impact it could have that Noah went 9 his last time out. And he said, well, it means that when you get to the 6th and 7th inning, it doesn't feel like quite as big a load. And so maybe playing off that sentiment, he's riding Syndergaard and trying to get him through this 7th, even though he's been staggered. Cesar Hernandez is 3 for 3 tonight. He's driven in a run. And he lines one right back to Noah, and he goes down, and everybody's safe, and now concern for Noah. He took that shot right in the ribs. It'll bring in a run to make it 9-4, but the greater concern for the health of Noah Syndergaard. And you can see exactly where he got hit. And he's going to come right out of this game. Well, we saw Zach Wheeler get hit in the chest in L.A., and now Syndergaard takes a bullet in the ribs and able to walk off. And hopefully it was not too direct a hit. So Syndergaard's night comes to an end after the 5th hit of the inning, brings in the 2nd run of this 7th, and you can see up close where it got him. Right there.
That's the ribs.
Man, that hurts.
And he went down.
I mean, he wanted to get up to make the play, but he couldn't even scramble his way up in time because he was so stunned by it. So Cesar Hernandez picks up his 4th hit of the game, knocking Syndergaard out of the game quite literally. And now Jerry Blevins will come in to face Odubel Herrera with the bases loaded, 2 out. Wilmer Flores is also in the game at first base as the Mets make a double switch. Syndergaard gives up a dozen hits, and the last one is the most painful. We'll be right back to Citi Field. First base and bat ninth. Jerry Blevins in to play pitcher and bat cleanup.
And he was already up, so he didn't need a lot of pitches. He needed a normal amount to get. He's ready to go.
We'll get a pinch hitter. Jose Bautista batting for Odubel Herrera, and he takes a curveball outside for ball one. So Bautista, who started last night against Steven Matz and went 0 for 2. Chance to get the Phillies a little bit closer. 9-4 in the 7th. Bases loaded, 2 out. And the curveball bends around the plate, and Blevins falls behind 2-0. As we know from his time with the Mets, Bautista is very patient. He's 2 for 3 in his career against Blevins.
But he has struggled this year against left-handers, struggled mightily in the Met uniform.
So Aaron Altair on deck to pinch hit. And Bautista takes a strike. 2-1. Ramos at third, Cabrera at second, Hernandez at first with 2 out. And the curveball bends in for a strike. 2-2. How fast do you have to react? You get rid of it, and it comes right back in.
Oh, it's a split second.
Oh. 4/10 of a second in, and maybe 3/10 of a second back.
Well, they're going to take an X-ray of that, make sure there's no broken ribs, and hopefully there's not.
It's nice to see him able to walk off.
Well, he's going to have a fairly large-sized bruise there. Hopefully that's all the extent of it.
I mean, he was taking a beating anyway, and then he took one quite literally.
It hurts. The ball bites.
Well, Mickey Callaway tried to stretch him through this 7th, and it just didn't quite work out that way. Blevins having trouble seeing the signs from Nito, and that's why they just had a little conference. Mets are down to 2 mound visits the rest of the game. 2-2 to Bautista. Curveball outside. Full count. So now the merry-go-round will be in motion. And with some slow runners on the bases, that'll help the Phillies. Ramos at third, Cabrera at second. Hernandez with a little bit of speed at first. 3-2, 2 down. And Blevins may be trying to catch Cabrera leaving too early. As Dribble was having none of it. Three-two. And Bautista fouls off the fastball, and they'll do it again.
Well, Bautista there, breaking ball pitcher, tried to throw a fastball there. Bautista was looking fastball. He fouled it back. So that tells Blevins that he maybe can't sneak one by him here.
And he gets another fastball and fouls it back, and he got Nito on the way.
Wrist. Oh boy, right down the pipe.
And that bat comes around and hits him right on the back of that left hand. A lot of pain in this inning for the Mets battery.
Jeez, no fooling. Well, let's see what he offers here.
He's got to throw a curve, doesn't he?
Well, bases loaded. Does he have the? He's been known to do it.
This will be the 8th pitch of the at bat to Bautista. And he struck him out with a fastball. There's a big out for Jerry Blevins as he gets Bautista to strand 3. So after Syndergaard takes a shot and is knocked out of the game, Blevins comes in to get a king-sized out and keep the Mets up 9-4 at the 7th inning stretch.
Got him to swing at ball 4.
Not a bad pitch by Lopez that resulted in that base hit by Grossman to break up the no-hit bid. Changes for the Phillies. Aaron Altair comes in to play center field. He'll bat 9th, and Victor Arano will be the 7th Philadelphia pitcher of the night.
Well, there's Arano's numbers, and he's having a terrific year from Mexico, and he is a slider ball pitcher. He loves his slidey.
Tomas Nido leads off for New York in the bottom of the 7th. Nido delivered the first big hit for the Mets, a 3-run double in the 2nd. And he swings at a first pitch fastball and fouls it back. Wilmer Flores is batting 9th in the order. He's on deck. Then Ahmed Rosario against Arano, who has been a real godsend for the Phillies bullpen this year.
This is almost taking on the shape of a spring training game, Gary. So many changes.
Well, somewhere on the cusp of a spring training game and a World Series game. It's hard to tell. I mean, Gabe Kapler's pulling out all the stops using his whole bullpen, his whole bench, trying to come back from a huge deficit.
Well, Kapler still got 5 guys out and left in his bullpen and 7 on his bench.
So there's more where that came from. Nido fouls it back. Coming up tonight after the post game, it's Geico Sports Night. Wild things at the U.S. Women's Open final. Lots of baseball pennant races, and the football season starts in earnest tomorrow. 0-2 to Nido leading off the home 7th. And he has to spin. 1-2. Victor Arano, just 23 years old, and he has emerged as a big piece out of that Foley bullpen. Doesn't walk many, averages more than a strikeout per inning. He's kept the ball in the ballpark, and he strikes out Nido to start the 7th. That is 10 strikeouts for Phillies pitchers tonight. And now a quick message from your Tri-State Porsche dealers.
I never got one of those.
Someday, Keith.
Come on. I'd love to have gotten a Porsche.
My friends all drive Porsches. I must make amends. Wilmer Flores up for the first time. Wilmer's first at bat in the series. His last game on Wednesday in LA. He had a couple of hits and 2 RBIs. Came in on a double switch in the last inning. And he takes inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Eflin, Eichhoff, Davis, Ramos, Morgan, Garcia, and Arano have all pitched for the Phillies tonight. And it's only the 7th. Slider in for a strike, and it's 1-2.
Well, we're almost out of it. It's almost the 8th.
Not yet. It's almost October, too, but not yet. Ahmed Rosario on deck. Wilmer grounds one to short. Nice easy hop for Cabrera. And a wide throw, but Bohr puts on the tag. And that's the 2nd out. Boy, this Phillies defense has just been dreadful all night long.
Hey, that's their philosophy.
I mean, Cabrera used to be a shortstop, but the Mets didn't play him an inning at shortstop this year because he just wasn't able to play the position anymore. The Phillies picked him up, and this is what, his 22nd game playing shortstop for them?
Yes. 21st.
2 out and nobody on. Here's Rosario, who doubled and scored back in the 4th. 1 for 4 on the night. And he takes a slider for a strike.
They're hard to watch.
Blevins finished the top of the 7th. Looks like he'll stay out there for the top of the 8th. The Mets double switched him into the game. Phillies will have Altair, Santana, and Moore right, switch left coming up. Rosario fouls one away, and it's 1-2.
It just seems like Rosario here with his resurgence in the 2nd half. It just has got his aggressiveness back. He's really a tiger up there.
Grounds one toward the middle of the diamond. There's Cabrera with the quick toss. This one on target to end the inning. So Arano comes in, gets the Mets 1-2-3. We go to the 8th with the Mets up 9-4. From Knight.
Oh, look how fast they're going.
Through the night. Boat traffic moving so quickly. Well, it's been a wild affair. 9-4 as we go to the 8th. Aaron Altair leads off for the Phillies and takes a strike from Jerry Blevins, who came in with the bases loaded in the 7th to strike out Bautista, and now he'll face Altair to start the 8th. Altair started in center field last night, went 1 for 2. Carlos Santana on deck, then Justin Bour. Phillies have left the bases loaded twice tonight. 10 left on base overall. Line center field. Jackson got a late start back, but gets there. 1 out. So Altair hit it hard. So 1 out and nobody on. So we've changed our Geico Sports Night promo because we had the Giants playing the wrong team in the original one.
I think it was the Lions, and I know for a fact it's the Jaguars.
I know the difference between Lions and Tigers and Bears. Oh my. Santana takes a strike. He's got 2 hits tonight. Single to right in the 3rd, single to center in the 7th. Philly's got a dozen hits against Noah Syndergaard, who is yet in line for his 11th win. But it was a night of pain for Syndergaard. 12 hits, 5 walks, and a shot to the ribs that knocked him out of the game in the 7th. No word yet on Noah's health, but he did walk off the field under his own power, and that was certainly great to see after that line drive off the bat of Cesar Hernandez felled him like a big tree. Two and 1 to Santana with Justin Bour on deck. Callaway trying to nurse Blevins through an inning and a 3rd if he can. And the curveball fouled off his foot. Out in the National League West, last night the Dodgers won the opening game of their big series with the Rockies. Remember, Kenley Jansen's not there because of his heart condition. Didn't want to send him to Denver, so Kenta Maeda saved it last night. Tonight, though, it's the Rockies leading 4-1. Home runs by Chris Iannetta and Charlie Blackmon have Colorado on top. They're a half game up on the Dodgers, a game and a half up on the Diamondbacks starting play today. Diamondbacks are 2-2 with the Braves in the 6th.
The Braves have been struggling offensively. Freddie Freeman went into the night hitting .303. He was up in the 320s, and he's dropped considerably.
Been a big slump for about a month now.
Yep, and they need him to get hot. And Markakis really has been a constant for that team, hitting .311 coming into tonight.
2-2 to Santana. Popped it up. Might stay in play. Flores to the warning track to get it. 2 out.
Wilmer got a little bit of a late look at the dugout fence. He didn't. He's fine. He got it all the way. But baby Wilmer.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Justin Bour will be called back for a pinch hitter. Who are we going to get? This is Andrew Knapp, the
switch hitter,
extra catcher who they just called up yesterday. Knapp, who did a lot of catching for the Phillies earlier in the season before they acquired Wilson Ramos, had been in the minor leagues. But he'll come up to pinch hit for Bour to give them a right-handed bat against Blevins. So let's see. Kapler started the night with 11 on his bench. This is the 5th bench player he's used. He's got lots more in the tank.
Try 6. They just called up Mitch Walding today, so that's an extra bench player.
That's number 11. Tonight's starters brought to you by People's United Bank. Zach Eflin had a very rough go. That's been the way it's been going for him. Syndergaard had a slog, but he had an early lead, which he was able to hold before that line drive to the ribs knocked him out of the game. Two and 0 now to Knapp, who's hitting just .216 on the year. And only .148 as a right-hand batter, which makes this a somewhat curious move.
been a very intriguing game to a degree. Yeah.
Well, the personnel decisions have been fascinating.
Well, that's.
I mean, and when you have so many bodies at your disposal in September, which, we can get into why that's ridiculous to begin with, sometimes you can overthink the situation. Levin's behind 3-0, and he misses ball 4, so now draws a 2-out walk. So that worked out for Gabe Kapler. Monday, before the Jets-Lions opener, see the Jets are playing the Lions, head to SNY for the only Jets-dedicated pregame show on TV. Join Jonas Schwartz, Ray Lucas, Willie Colon, Bart Scott, and Janae Coakley for up-to-the-minute news and analysis leading to kickoff on the Jets pregame show presented by M&T Bank. Coverage begins Monday at 5:30, only on SNY. Mets going to make a double switch. Robert Gazelman will come in to face Wilson Ramos. Jose Reyes is on the field as well. And we'll be right back to Citi Field. On land as well.
Okay. Let's play baseball.
Jose Reyes in to play third base. That's part of baseball. He'll bat in the 4th spot. The pitcher, Gazelman, goes in the 7 hole if you're keeping a very messy scorecard. Wilson Ramos will be the batter with 2 out and a runner at first. Ramos already has a single, a double, and a walk. He's driven in a run. Knapp at first with 2 down. And Ramos takes the sinker for a strike, 0-1. Ramos with his 2 hits tonight now has a .298 lifetime batting average against the Mets. It feels like .398. And he flies one to shallow right. McNeil out. Nimmo in. Nimmo gets there. And that retires the side. So Gazelman gets the 3rd out. And we go to the bottom of the 8th with the Mets still up 9-4. For baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Scoreless game in the second when Tomas Nido, with the bases loaded, yanked one down the line to drive in the first 3 runs of this game. And we were off and moving. Changes for the Phillies as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Carlos Santana moves from third base to first base. Scott Kingery will come in and play shortstop as Drupal Cabrera moves from shortstop to third. And the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th pitcher of the night for the Phillies will be the veteran Luis Avilan.
Originally with the Braves, if you recall, Met fans, and he has bounced around once of high promise, and it just hasn't happened for him. A decent year.
This will be his 6th appearance since being acquired from the White Sox, and 58 appearances for the Southsiders. Jeff McNeil will be the first man up for the Mets in the bottom of the 8th. McNeil already has 3 hits tonight.
Well, it's a rough scorecard, Gare.
It's a lot of moving around. 4th 3-hit game already of McNeil's career. 2 singles and a triple tonight. McNeil, Conforto, and Reyes, the 3 due up for the Mets in the 8th. And Avilan gets the breaking ball over for a strike. Statcast AI powered by Amazon Web Services.
But you'd have to say that's a slight shade. In today's game, that is a slight shade to the pool.
Grounded to the right side. Santana on the backhand, and Avilan to cover for the 3-1 putout, 1 away. So McNeil retired, 1 out now of Conforto. Looking ahead to the 9th, the Phillies will have Hoskins, Cabrera, and Williams due up. And presumably Gesellman is going to stay in and try and finish it after getting the final out in the 8th. Although the Mets will keep their bullpen busy just in case. There's Jacob Rame getting up. But it would certainly make sense for Gesellman to try and get the final 4 outs tonight with 1 already in the kip. Conforto's 1 for 4 tonight, and he takes the curveball from Avilan for a strike. 65 miles an hour on that curveball. And he runs the sinker low and in.
Well, I've kept as tidy a scorecard as I possibly can, Gare, in this game. It's a victory.
I'm very proud of you. But you ran out of colors, I'll bet.
I had to go around I hit for the cycle.
How many? You have 6 or 7 colors?
I have 6, so I've gotten around. The Phillies have.
They've batted around?
They've got me back to yellow again. Yes, you're right.
The Brewers beat the Giants tonight 4-3. Gio Gonzalez gets the win in his first start for the Brewers. So they have picked up a game on the Cubs today, with the Cubs still playing a second game. 1-2 coming, and Conforto hits it a deep right field. Back goes Williams onto the warning track at the wall. It's out of here. Michael Conforto with his 22nd home run of the year. The 4th straight series in which Conforto has homered. And he adds a little more icing to make it 10-4 New York.
Well, he got a hanger. Lots of hangers tonight. Stayed back just an oh yes. He's so strong. A flick of the wrist. And there she goes.
That's 2nd home run of the night. Todd Frazier had the 1st.
Not much of a follow through here. Look at right on the screws right there. And look at the follow through. Not a big follow through. That was all wrists. Nicely done.
1-1 to Reyes, batting for the first time tonight. Reyes started at shortstop last night, went 0 for 3, came in on a double switch in the last half inning. And Avilan misses low 2-1. So with the Brewers winning and the Cubs losing, the Brewers are now 3 games out in the Central. The Cardinals lost on a wild pitch in the bottom of the 9th to the Tigers. And so the Cardinals stay 5.5 out. The Cubs are leading the second game of their doubleheader in Washington 4-0 in the 4th. Fouled away, and it's 2-2. So there are the standings at the moment. Milwaukee creeping within 3 and extending their wild card lead. Now up 2.5 for the first wild card over St. Louis, and the Cardinals clinging to that second wild card. They started the night a game ahead of the Dodgers. Reyes pops one up, and Cabrera in foul ground puts it away for the second out. So 2 out now. Austin Jackson will bat for the first time. Jackson took over Frazier's spot in the batting order. I'm assuming Frazier only came out because it was 9-2.
Yes.
Mickey Callaway wanted to get him off his feet, so he brought Jackson in, moved some people around. Frazier drove in 4 runs tonight with a home run and a sacrifice fly. And now Jackson batting for the first time in this series. Last played Wednesday in LA, went 1 for 4 and drove in a run. And Avilan misses with a fastball, 1-1. The Phillies starter Zach Eflin is on the hook in this game. He gave up 6 runs in 3 innings. Mets have gotten 3 runs against the Philly bullpen, 1 against Eichhoff, 2 against Morgan. And that's drilled to left, but Hoskins is right there. And that retires a side, but not before Michael Conforto's home run extends the Met lead. They're up 6 as we go to the 9th. Rhys Hoskins leads off in the top of the 9th, 10-4 New York. Hoskins homered back in the 6th inning for the Phillies, his 2nd in 2 days and his 29th of the year. He's 1 for 3 on the night. Facing Robert Gsellman, and he tops one up the third baseline, and he'll have a base hit out of this. Gsellman will put it in his pocket, and Hoskins has his 2nd hit of the night. That is 13 Philadelphia hits, and now a quick message from City.
Think fast.
So the leadoff man on for the Phillies in the ninth, and now is Drupal Cabrera, who's 2 for 3 and a walk tonight, a single and a double. Not a save situation for Robert Gazelman, but trying to nail it down for Noah Syndergaard. Syndergaard, who got hit in the ribs by a Cesar Hernandez line drive in the 7th that knocked him out of the game. No medical report on Noah as of yet. But if the Mets hang on to this lead, it will be Noah's 11th win, and it would be his 6th straight start with a win at Citi Field. There's only one Met who's ever made 6 straight starts and gotten a win in every one of them at Citi Field, and that was in the first year of Citi Field. 2009, John Mayne won 6 straight Citi Field starts, and nobody else has done it. But Syndergaard in line to do that tonight. Mayne won his final 6 home starts in 2009. Syndergaard hoping this won't be his final start of 2018. Cabrera fouls back a fastball, and it's still 0-2. Nick Williams on deck for the Phillies, and then Cesar Hernandez. Tomorrow, Jacob deGrom in the final game of the series against Vince Velasquez. Phillies haven't won a series in a dog's age. Their last winning series was the first week in August against Miami. Grounded slowly. McNeil will go to first with it. Got the sure out on Cabrera as Hoskins moves up. Let's see what's coming up on WB Mason post-game live. Check in with Gary Apple and Jim Duquette, guys. It's very kind of you. Thank you, Gary. We'll be checking in with you shortly.
That's the one thing I've always, we leave the ballpark, they go on the air, and I'm driving home. I never get to see the post-game show.
You could tape it, I'll bet your DVR works just perfectly. And it could be sitting there waiting for you as you walk in the door in Sag Harbor. You flick on the TV, hit the DVR, and there's Gary.
I didn't think of that, Gary, but not tonight. Day game tomorrow.
Maybe you can call Rich and get him to set it for you. Nick Williams takes a strike, 1-1. I know you listen to Wayne's post-game show.
I do.
On the radio.
I do, because I'm in the car. I get all the updates, and then I flip over to John Batchelor.
Williams lines one down the line, just foul. So it's 1-2 to Nick Williams, who's 0 for 4 tonight. Syndergaard went 6 2/3, allowed 12 hits and 5 walks. And our good buddy Eric Hornick just passed along the information. Only twice before in Mets history has a Mets starter given up 12 hits and 5 walks. And both instances were in 1962, first year of the franchise. Al Jackson,
it's hard to believe,
and Roger Craig each had a start where they gave up 12 hits and 5 walks.
And
grounded slowly, Rosario to his right, and he doesn't have a play. Reyes didn't go to cover at third. They might have had a chance for a play there, but instead there's no play, and it's a base hit for Williams. And the Phillies have runners at first and third on a couple of infield hits. I don't think there was any chance for him to throw out Williams at first here.
Nope. I don't think the thought ever crossed Jose's mind.
You know, the best I ever saw at turning the 6-5 play was Ray Ordonez with Edgardo Alfonso when Fonzie played third for the Mets.
Two very heady players,
yeah,
particularly Fonzie.
And of course, Ordonez had so much range going in the hole. Fonzie knew that he could always get to the bag unless the ball's hit right at him. He figured anything to his left, Ordonez was going to get.
And there's a case, though, of the overshifting up the middle. That's a ground ball routine for the shortstop, but with Rosario way up the middle, You know, there's so many instinctive plays now that everything cuts against the grain. And you've got to give the benefit of the doubt to the player because you've been playing the game one way your whole life.
Cesar Hernandez golfs one out to left. Conforto comes over to get it. Tagging at third is Hoskins. He'll come in to score. But that is the second out of the ninth. Sacrifice fly for Hernandez. A 4-for-4, 3 RBI night for him. It's now 10-5, but the Phillies are down to their final out of the night. And Scott Kingery will be coming up for the first time. Kingery came in the game to play shortstop as the Phillies move their people around. And Kingery takes a fastball for a strike.
This is a big game now in Arizona, as Atlanta's still 2-2 on top of the seventh with Arizona. And they got to see on the board that they got a chance to pick up a game on the Phils.
Diamondbacks won the opening game of that series last night. The Braves have lost 4 of their first 5, but with a win tonight, they can go back to 3.5 up on the Phillies. Fly ball, center field. Jackson, plenty of room, and the ball game is over. Gesellman gets the final 4 outs. Syndergaard picks up his 11th win. The Mets with 14 hits, 4 RBIs for Todd Frazier, big hit for Tomas Nido, and the Mets even up this series with a 10-5 win.
Well, Gary mentioned it right there. 2 swings of the bat, and the Mets got off to a quick 6-0 lead. 3 runs in the second and third. The bases loaded double by Nido on the first pitch down the left field line. 3 runs scored, and then the 3-run home run from Mr. Frazier is 17th.
Tonight's game summary presented by Fidelis Care. The only concern tonight, the health of Noah Syndergaard, who got drilled in the ribs by a Cesar Hernandez line drive on the last pitch he threw. And we'll have an update on Noah hopefully during our post-game coverage tonight. For every Mets win, the Mets organization is proud to contribute $2,500 to Northwell Health and the Cass Institute for Women's Health. For more information, visit northwell.edu/cats. This win brings the total contribution so far this season to $160,000. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Honda. Great deals are waiting at your Honda dealer. By Cash for Life from the New York Lottery, you could win $1,000 a day for life. By Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. And by Budweiser, the legendary lager for legendary moments. Final score tonight, the Mets 10, the Phillies 5. Rubber game of the series tomorrow afternoon. It is DeGrom Day tomorrow. Jacob goes up against Vince Velasquez. Our coverage begins at 12:30 tomorrow right here on SNY. Now for Keith Hernandez, Steve Gelbs, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen at Citi Field. Time for WB Mason Post Game Live. Let's join Gary Apple and Jim Duquette in the studio. Guys?